There's nothing quite like reliving history or rewriting it. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 World War II games. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the games that made their mark in this historical setting. Number 10, Day of Defeat Source. Developed by Valve, this FPS was a remake of the original 2003 Day of Defeat mod for Half-Life. The game allowed players to compete against each other as either the United States or Germany. The many maps and levels of the game are based on real battlefields in France, Italy, and Sicily. Though it's pretty dated now. The graphics were pretty great for the time, and the gameplay featured realistic weapons and grenades. The class's atmosphere and intense gameplay led this to being one of the highest rated World War II games of its time. Number 9, IL-2 Sturmovik. Rule the skies in this classic dogfighting sim. 1C Maddox Games took attention to detail and depth to a whole new level with this Eastern Front-focused game. The game itself is named after the infamous Soviet ground attack fighter, which played a prominent role in, you guessed it, World War II. Up to 100 players could play in online servers and fly in planes from Japan, the United States, the Soviet Union, Germany, and the United Kingdom. The combination of great graphics and realistic flight-based gameplay made this a truly special title. Number 8, Red Orchestra II, Heroes of Stalingrad. Developers Tripwire Interactive didn't shy away from making a difficult game. In a day and age when the player's HUD could show them all kinds of helpful information, this game chose to forego most of that in the name of realism. By taking away those hand-holding devices, Red Orchestra II ramps up the tension and the sense of satisfaction when you win. This FPS also boasted incredibly detailed tank interiors and gameplay. Altogether, this made for a one-of-a-kind gaming experience for those that really weren't into Call of Duty. Number 7, World of Tanks. Combining elements of shooters and MOBAs, this free-to-play game has turned out to be a massive success for its developer, Wargaming. This game is for all of you who love the chaos and explosions of a great tank battle. It's easy to think of yourself as a digital Rommel or Patton when rolling through the beautifully detailed terrain. And who doesn't love knocking your opponent's tracks off with a perfectly placed hit? This game has spawned several other similar titles, but for our money, the original is still the best.
The minigun is damaged. We can't fire accurately.
Number 6, Medal of Honor, Allied Assault. Perhaps the best game in the Medal of Honor franchise, this 2002 first-person shooter was the first of the series to be released for the PC. Like so many other World War II games, this takes place during the invasion of Europe on the Battle of D-Day. The multiplayer also featured 4 modes. Along with typical deathmatch, it also had an objective mode, which required teamwork to complete map-specific missions. Allied Assault was loved by critics and players alike for its gritty atmosphere and fun gameplay. Number 5, Brothers in Arms, Road to Hill 30.
Lieutenant Combs and what's left of his platoon are pinned down not far from here. They might last 2 hours. They might last 2 minutes. But they won't last at all if we don't reinforce them.
If you're a fan of HBO's Band of Brothers, then this is the game for you. It's hard for developers to innovate when it comes to story because we all have a pretty good idea of how World War II happened. But where this game really shined was in its squad-based gameplay. Not only were your squad mates vital to your success, but they were based on actual members of the 101st Airborne Division. Squad-based gameplay has since become a popular feature in other shooters, and you can thank Brothers in Arms in part for that.
Head that way!
Number 4, Wolfenstein 3D. This game is older school than old school and is one of the fathers of modern-day first-person shooters, if not the father. You play as Jewish-American B.J. Blazkowicz, who has just escaped from his cell in a Nazi compound and has to gun his way out. The fast-paced action and brutal violence was revolutionary for its time, and it's the foundation for many games that we play today. Number 3. Battlefield 1942. DICE changed the way we play World War II shooters forever with this classic multiplayer game. Battlefield encouraged a cooperative playstyle, due to the fact that the maps could host as many as 64 players between two teams during an online match. Players had to work together to capture spawn points and deplete the enemy ticket counter, all while keeping their teammates alive and constantly resupplied. On top of that, each map was littered with a variety of vehicles that players could take control of, making Battlefield 1942 truly worthy of its namesake. Number 2. Call of Duty 2.
Dog Company, listen up! Men on the beaches are counting on us to take out the coastal guns on those cliffs! Move fast, get topside, and get the job done!
Another classic that created a gaming phenomenon, Call of Duty 2 took the familiar World War II setting and made it new again with great graphics and intense sound design. It redefined the genre and established itself as the premier first-person shooter series on the market. One of the innovations the game featured was regenerating health. Maybe you've heard of this one? This may seem like small, common, and maybe overdone by now, but at the time it allowed players to concentrate more on shooting each other's faces like no other game before it. Another great World War II shooter from the Call of Duty series was 2008's Call of Duty World at War, but for our money, COD 2 is the best. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1. Company of Heroes. Probably one of the best real-time strategy games ever. This classic follows the invasion of France by the Allies during World War II. You fight your way through Europe in a fantastic single-player campaign, and test your microing skills in intense multiplayer too. Among some of the unique features of this game were the squad and cover systems. Your units would actively seek out the best places to hide from incoming enemy fire. This was a pretty revolutionary mechanic for an RTS game, and honestly, few games have really used it successfully since. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.